much. Secretary Wright, thank you for being here today. Congratulations on your appointment. I know that we've had some good news in the oil patch and some interesting news in the oil patch. And I wanted to just ask you a few questions, particularly around everything that's happening nationally. Your FY26 budget proposal guts proven bipartisan energy programs, some of which directly support our domestic workforce and ensures American energy dominance. And here's what's not in your budget that I wanted to talk with you about: a plan to deal with the consequences of mass deportations in the Permian Basin. As you know, the Permian accounts for nearly 50% of the oil production. That's around 6 million barrels a day. And that production doesn't rely just on rigs and engineers. It depends on a workforce. And many of those dangerous jobs in the oil patch, as you know, because you've been in the oil patch, you know that many of those dangerous jobs are performed by people in this country that are undocumented. And so if ICE were to hit Midland or if they were to hit Odessa, I don't think there's any plan in your budget to replace those workers or that lost production. In Odessa, studies show that undocumented workers make up about 13% of the workforce. That's one of the key hubs for Permian operations. And I've seen other anecdotes where oil field service companies in Midland have only about 5 or 10% of their employees with genuine papers. And so, as you know, those aren't soft skill jobs. Those are people that are out in the heat, people that risk injuries to their hands and to their other limbs. And they're having that hot Texas heat. I'm sure you've been out there in the summer. As someone from Fort Worth, I've been out there in the summer, and I think we all know that it's hot. Where in your budget, and this is a question that I have for you, where in your budget do you account for the impact of potential mass deportations on oil production in the Permian Basin? Because if Stephen Miller wants 3,000 people a day deported, which has been reported that he does, what are you going to do to replace those workers?
A great question, Representative. And yes, you're correct. I've worked for years out there, employing thousands of people in that region. And a large number of them are relatively recent immigrants from Mexico and from further south of the border. Tremendous, hardworking, awesome workers. But certainly in my company, all of them are here illegally. They are not illegal immigrants. I'm sure there are some, but I would suspect the percent that are illegal is quite small. Yeah. You gave a number of 13%. That may be one small community.
Did you use third-party companies for to hire employees where they weren't hired directly by you, but they were brought in by a third party that had their papers and had their Social Security numbers already ready, or did you hire all of those people?
We hired all of those people. We have an employee.
And you use the E-Verify system to, okay?
Correct.
So let me ask you a question. If ICE were to show up to Midland today and do a large-scale deportation, and it were to get a little bit rowdy, would you support the president calling in the National Guard to Midland, Texas, or West Texas, like he has in Los Angeles?
Look, in due respect to all the great immigrant workers that work in that region and work across our country, you need to respect the difference between those that came here illegally and those that are here illegally.
What about the people that are going to have their TPS status revoked? A lot of them probably work in the oil patch. I mean, you hear the stories, and you can go down to the oil patch and see. If for anybody that hadn't been down to Texas on the Democratic side or the Republican side, they can go down to the oil patch and see for themselves. What about the people, the TPS people that are going to have their status revoked? That could be very disruptive to the oil patch.
Yeah, the workforce in America is critical, and a lot of the workforce in the United States are immigrants from overseas, and they are awesome contributors to our society. I think the line is just between who's here legally and who's here illegally.
Let me ask you another question. Is it easier to drill, baby, drill with no employees, or is it easier to drill, baby, drill having to go around, let's say, EPA regulations?
Wait, the first having to...
Is it easier is it easier to drill for oil with no employees, or is it easier to drill for oil having to work around a few EPA regulations? I would think it'd be harder to drill for oil without any employees.
You definitely need employees to drill for oil, absolutely.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.
Thank you.